This is Point of View with Shirley, Cleester, Merethah, and Eula. And of course, Eula's not with us. She's still taking care of those children. But we thank you for being with us today. It's such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And I'm so happy to be here with my sisters. So happy to be with
Yay!
my sisters. And we have some great topics for you today. So we are going to start with our prayer. Dear God, as we sit before you to speak, we pray to you that our souls you will keep. And if we should die before we finish, we pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that all outstanding sins will be forgiven.
Amen.
Amen. And so
Amen.
we always want to be covered in prayer and in the blood of Jesus because we don't know from one microsecond to the next
I
what's
was gonna say
going
the
to
milli.
happen.
I was getting the milli down. Now she didn't change the micro.
Micro, millisecond.
She didn't
We just
change the
don't
micro.
know.
No,
We,
don't know.
we have no idea. So was I going to go? So my topic today is talking about passive people. Okay, that what's yours?
Mine is six science backed ways of being kind is good for your health.
Okay, and Clee.
Mine is saying how to say goodbye to someone you love
Oh
and
my
get
goodness.
them yonder.
Okay, that kind of goodbye.
Yeah, so
Okay, all right.
that get some yonder wasn't in there, but that's my topic and get some yonder.
Okay, okay. Now we understand what kind it is, and so I just thank the Lord. There's so many things going on around us. And my topic, did I say I
Amen.
was going to go first?
I
Yeah.
What did
believe
I
you did. Just no, I'm
say?
let me weigh
I'm
it down.
Where you go, Claude?
I'm going to let
talking
my
about
window
being,
down because all that traffic I can't hear.
oh, okay, talking about passive. These are communication styles in life, our life communication styles. And so we have four communication styles. And so mine that I was thinking about, I had seen this movie and I'm recommending it. I mean, it's because it's based on a true story, and I'm not going to just because some haven't seen it. I don't know whether I ask you if you've seen it or not. That, but there was a very passive. Well, there were really three passive people in that movie, and it was just amazing. And I thought about that, and I said, and I asked the Lord, Lord, give me because He always gives us all great topics. And so I asked him to give me something great to talk about and something that will help us all. And so he told me to talk about passive, being passive. So there, can you hear my music? Do I need to turn it off?
I can't hear it.
I
Okay.
can't either.
There, read what you say?
I said I can't hear either.
Okay. There are four communication styles. I'm going to start with that. We have four communication styles, of which being passive is one of them. So let me see if make sure my thing is working. So, and this is from the artofmastery.com. This talking about the four communication styles. So there are basically four different communication styles that people use. Believe it or not, you use one of these styles more often than the others. The different styles include the following: passive aggressive, we've heard of that. Passive, we've heard of that. Aggressive, we've heard of that. And assertive styles. And so we don't think we hear about that as much as we hear about the passive aggressive, and the aggressive. Okay, so now remember that we all favor one over the other, but then there will be a time when you will have to switch to a different style, even though you're not that comfortable using it. And so many of us can see when we've made a switch. And we might not define it as a communication skill or whatever, but we know when our styles change and when we have to go into a different mode. So passiveness, what is being passive? The passive communication is where one doesn't overtly express too much or even any emotion during a conversation or personal interaction. The main characteristic of this communication style is that the person yields to the other. They can act timidly, trying to avoid conflict, or even trying hard not to contradict what the others are saying. At the other end of the spectrum, This communication style also includes a style where one shows indifference towards the subject being discussed. The latter may tend to irritate others since the one who uses this form of communication, for example, a show of indifference, is bluntly pointing out that they don't care. And I think sometimes, like, because I'm talking about this movie, that's what triggers this thought, and how it seems that as long as things are working smoothly, I mean, and they don't have to put forth much effort, then everything's okay. They don't care. That's what it seems like. The lack of outward communication. Alexa, stop the music. The lack of outward communication can spark resentment, anger, and misunderstanding. SOW, misunderstanding. When one uses this style of communication, it is not just the words that come out that matter. Your mannerisms as you deliver the message, for example, how you say the words. That I think you talked about that not too long ago, didn't you? And Clee said, what did you say? She was even reading angry. So your mannerisms as you deliver the message, for example, how you say the words, will have a greater impact because we know the tone and the body language. And sometimes we have to say, wait a minute now. Okay. No, you don't have to act like that, or you don't have to talk to me like that. So when you act as a passive communicator, you you speak and then display poor body posture. And also lack any form of eye contact. In general, you would look like you're the type that couldn't say no to someone. The ironic thing is that people also see passive communicators as someone with whom you can get along easily. They rarely contradict or go against whatever point you're making. They say yes and go with the flow in almost every single instance. And that's what I was saying when I watched it. It's a series. It's a short mini series. Okay. And I was looking at that, and this person in there, the aggressive person of the main character, oh, she was something else. And then her family, they were so passive. This woman is bringing in bags of money, and she's blow drying the money. She's ironing the money. She's stacking the money, keeping it in drawers, sewing it in oh God, look at those ears. And sewing it into cloth and all of this. And they see this. And so, as a matter of fact, one of them just went. She just gave him the blow dryer, and he just started blowing the money dry. Didn't ask where it came from,
no questions,
or anything.
whatsoever.
Just as long as things were going along. And so that, I mean, very passive. I said, oh my goodness, that is ridiculous. So here's some examples of passive communication. People don't consider my feelings. They don't know what else I could do. I don't want to confront him. I prefer to keep the peace. It's not even worth it. She's the boss, so there's really nothing I could do about it. It's not like I had any choice in the matter. Have you heard people say that?
Yes.
Yep. Passive communication style characteristics. Do you have a passive style of communication? If you're unsure, then take note of the following characteristics. You speak softly. If you're a passive communicator, you will tend to speak softly. You may even sound apologetic every time you speak to the other people. Apart from sounding like apologizing, you may even ask for forgiveness beforehand. You may even have qualifiers before your main sentence. You seem to sound immature. A passive communicator tends to sound a bit immature. unable to do tasks on their own, or as someone who is weak, even though they may not actually be so. They may actually be passive aggressive. Sometimes it's easy to confuse passive communication with passive aggressive communication. If you have certain outbursts followed by guilt or shame because of what you have said, then you may be passive aggressive instead. More on, we'll talk about that a little later, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You rarely show anger towards others. Passive communicators seldom voice their anger or dissatisfaction. They try to remain neutral and rarely criticize. Undecided. This type of communication sounds like someone who is undecided about the current issue being discussed. And then the reduced eye contact. Passive communication uses fewer eye contacts as much as possible. The goal is to let the other party do the talking. If you observe the majority of these traits in your way of communicating with others, then it is likely that you are a passive communicator. There are pros and cons to this. And we know that for a fact just by
Mm-hmm.
listening and reading this. There are pros and cons. Okay, and then some people get it twisted too. They might you might act passive, but you might be when it comes down to it. Some aggression might come in there too.
Come
Don't
on
put
out.
people in the corner. What that song is like, come out of that corner. Okay. Pros and cons of passive communication style. Here are the pros. Adaptive to the communication styles of other people. It's a great way of avoiding conflict, especially if you don't want to confront the issue or person right away. People tend to delegate critical responsibilities to others since they see you as less capable to assertive or aggressive communicators. So this is useful if you want to avoid high risk and high stress responsibilities. Okay. And you know, have you ever people they just seem like they just pass you up and go for those who are more outspoken,
Uh-huh. Yes.
and it seems like they're more active or whatever. They just pass you
Mm-hmm.
up and you wonder, well, why don't they ever ask? you know Anyway, here are the cons. You pass up opportunities for growth and development. You don't get to express how you really feel. This type of communication casts you in a bad or at least an inferior light. Internalizing feelings or the inability to express your thoughts may cause anxiety. And I agree with these to a point because I I would rather knowing people when it says that let me see, internalizing feelings or the inability to express yourself. You have the ability in many cases to express yourself, but knowing people,
There
knowing
you
their personality
there you go.
and knowing their characteristics
There
and
you go.
knowing that they're going to put their spin on whatever you say
You say.
and turn it into something that will favor them with the people that they communicate with.
Mm-hmm.
So many times I just don't say anything.
That,
I
yep.
would rather be quiet than to have them to twist it up.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say what I say, and that's the last thing I say, then that is what I mean.
That is what I mean.
So you won't get any more out of me if I don't want to give you any more. When I say I'm done,
I'm done.
I'm done. So people can poke and pry and all of that as long as they want to, but
Yep.
do it at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because once you
Now,
come
There
up
you go.
to me,
what do you say, Reed?
Okay, there you go.
once you
As
And
come
they
up
say,
then
enough
on
said.
me,
As they say, enough said.
enough said, and that's it. Don't
yeah,
call me trying to find out reason. And then the thing about it is that people know that they've done something. And then they go, well, what happened? Well, what happened? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? And they start naming things that they have
they
done.
did.
Yes, it's because of this, just like they haven't done it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just let them. I don't have any more
Whether you
anything else
know
to
what
Because
say.
it
nine
is,
times
if
out of
you
10,
name
you
all this
forgot they
stuff,
done done it. They bring it right on back to you.
Yep.
Is
And
it
then
because
they
I
go.
did this? Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they go out and their group of people,
And
and then
lie.
yeah, like it's all you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have conversations with people about things like that. When I'm done, I'm done, and it's over. There's no need
plus
to be
another
trying.
thing, I
Uh
don't
huh.
have to defend myself.
Right.
I'm not going to
Right.
defend myself. I
Right.
said what I said, or I
Uh
didn't
huh.
say what I didn't say, and
Uh
I'm
huh.
through.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And here is like this comes from Grammarly. It's passivity versus passiveness, and this is by Marco Tycat or Tikak or Tycak, one of them, Tick. Passivity. Oh, passivity. Passivity and passiveness are nouns derived from the adjective passive. Both nouns mean the same thing and are often listed as synonyms.
Mm-hmm.
Passive is an adjective, a word we use to describe someone or something that is not active. And I looked at that person, that second party in there, and it was just like, what have you done anything? Are you into something? What's going on? But yet he's blow drying the money,
Mm-hmm.
earning bags of money.
And nobody said. Nobody said, "Where you get that money from, girl?"
Right. But they're enjoying the benefits of it.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, and that's just a part of it. My Lord. So both nouns mean the same thing, okay? And so someone who is lethargic can be described as passive. When we're allowing something to happen and not doing it ourselves, we're being passive. And it
Yep.
depends too. People don't understand it. Many people understand how much they can take, how far they can go, what their temperament is. And some people lay back in order to keep themselves from getting all upset and
Mm-hmm.
getting into it and getting triggered into maybe having a blackout. Okay? No,
Yeah.
someone who is lethargic, just because they don't move fast
Excuse me.
and they don't jump fast when you're doing all your little smart talk and all of that, doesn't mean that they're not hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
just that this takes practice. You have to practice this in
Yes,
order to
you do.
maintain, keep your temperament, and be able to be calm as you can, and collective, in order not to just jump spontaneously and then people don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. You just know that something happened. Don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And I'm
So
sure
when we're allowing
somebody,
something to happen, and what'd you say?
but I'm sure somebody tell me once I come to.
See, this all works together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
See, people don't get it. I like that little girl on that commercial. She said, "Don't you get it?" People take this in this passive aggressive, and all of that stuff. There can be a mixture, just like they said. At one time or another, you're gonna cross over into one of those others. And
Mm-hmm.
woe be unto whoever if you should cross over into one of those that is aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not the passive aggressive, but aggressive. People just
Aggressive,
don't
aggressive.
understand. And so, I thank God for giving us these topics, because these are things that people, I mean, not every day people go around thinking about.
No.
Because
That's
we
true.
we don't, in our younger days we didn't go around thinking about the correct name for this and that and the other, and what these symptoms are
No.
and what all of this is. We didn't think about that. But
No.
we need to know. We need
Yep.
to know. So you probably know that you can turn an adjective into a noun by adding the right suffix. In the case of the adjective passive, you can use two different suffixes to create two different nouns with the same meaning. Now, the meaning of passivity and passiveness, the two nouns in question are passivity and passiveness. If you look them up in the dictionaries, you'll find that they're often listed simply as nouns derived from the adjective passive. So if you manage to find them defined individually, you can expect the dictionary to tell you that passivity is a state of being passive and that passiveness is a condition of being passive. In most cases, the words are listed as being each other's synonyms. Okay, now let me go. Here's some examples. Passivity and passiveness. They're nouns that denote the state of a condition of someone or something. You can use it when you want to say that someone is not taking an active role in things going on around them. Just because you hear the silence,
Booyah!
that doesn't
Hey,
mean that I'm
Well,
being quiet.
that's
Okay?
I was waiting on it. Perfect time.
Just because you hear the
Perfect
silence.
time.
And so many people, they just sitting home. They're not doing anything. And not doing. I remember one of the parishioners at Greater Gospel Temple when the Lord blessed me to not work. Well, I stopped working because I was injured on the job, and so I stopped, and because I was injured, and what is that? A injury, of course, So what is disability? Yes,
uh,
and so, but people don't understand when you don't go out on a daily job, what they call a 9 to 5 job, 40
mhm.
hour a week job. Some people work longer than that.
Yeah.
It's you're more busy when you're at the house or you're not going out to that 9 to 5 job because there's always
Well,
something that needs to be done. You're looking at it. And
Yeah.
I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And people
Yes.
think just because you don't go out to those jobs that you're not working.
That you're not working. Yes.
And
yep,
that's why they change. People you say, oh, she just a housewife. She just a
just a
housewife. But now
stay-at-home
that
mom.
is an occupation, you know, because the mother does more work. The father can go out and
Huh?
work and everything, but the mother's work is never done.
Nope.
And now there are some fathers too. Their work is never
Yep.
done. You understand?
Yes, it
They're
is. Yes.
uh-huh. So
Yes.
hey, I'm not no
We're not taking away
negativity,
nothing from the men.
nothing
Yep.
from the men. Nothing. But people just say, oh, and so this person said, there was something coming up and whatever. And so I got word that she said, oh, you can tell Sister Davis to do it. She ain't doing nothing but sitting at home
Whoa.
every day.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
But she doesn't know to this day that I know she said that. Yes, ma'am. She just doing that. She
And
just sitting at
smile in
home
your
every day.
face.
Huh?
Smile in your face. Hey, Sister David.
Smile in your face. Oh.
All the
Yep.
time they won't
Now they
take your
won't take
place.
your
Lots
place.
of things happen. See, people don't understand that you have to have a certain amount of passivity or passiveness in order to cope with the people today. Because if you think about it, if you react like you probably should to everything that goes on, you'd be a fussing and a cussing and a
Cussing.
hitting all day long, But God has given us, thank you, Jesus, for the temperament, for the spirit that He's put in us that keeps us from doing that every day.
And
So that
sometimes he will physically pull you backwards.
for real.
He really
Oh,
will.
and
He
put
really will.
somebody there to help you out. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And even the angels will get in the way
Yes.
sometimes. That's right. That's
Yes.
right. Because people say, well, something just held me.
Something
I
just
couldn't
held
move.
me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I felt like somebody just grabbed me and pulled me. And
Uh-huh.
you're there by yourself
Uh-huh.
because I
That's
felt
right.
it
That's right.
myself.
So, like I'm going to redo this. You can use it when you want to say that someone is not taking an active role in things going on around them, that someone is letting things go by without reacting to them, or that someone is letting something be done to them without resisting. Played as a prepubescent by Alex Hibbert and as a teen by Ashton Sanders. The character is defined by his passiveness and isolation, whether sitting in a bath with stove warmed water, standing out at the shore at dusk, or staring into the camera in a school nurse's office after a severe beating. And then it's Rolling Stone. That came from Rolling Stone, I guess. So then we added the moment of silence, which is its brevity and passivity. People usually do nothing during a moment of silence, so it is difficult to spot them doing it. It's very hard to prove or disprove as having happened. And so, people, like I said again, just because you hear the silence, that doesn't mean that I'm being quiet. And people need to realize that, because you don't see somebody doing something.
Yep.
You don't hear somebody saying something. It doesn't mean that they're not doing and they're not saying.
That's it. There it is.
It's just that you don't know what's going on. And so people are so judgmental. And that song, what I have 24 hours to mind my own business and 24 to leave yours alone.
Yeah.
Or is it 12 hours to mind my own business and 12 to leave yours alone? It's a song like that. And, if we all did that, everything would work out just fine. But so many people are so busy passing judgment on other people. She ain't doing this and she ain't doing that. And is not reacting to something that might be expected to produce manifestations of an emotion or feeling. Not participating readily and actively just because to them it's not readily or actively. They think it's being inactive. But people just don't understand. And not involving visible reaction or active participation to play a passive role. And so people just don't know. They want to pass what time? Oh, 1:27. Good googly moogly. Okay, talking about being passive.
Keep on going, honey.
What do you say?
I don't need to be googly or moogly. Keep on going.
That's right, because people are so judgmental, and many people think they have the answer to all and any and everything that's going on.
But then when you open their door, their house is a wreck. Their houses, they wreck.
That's right.
They can't control their children. Their children talk to them any kind of way. Their brothers and sisters ain't getting along. They ain't doing this, they ain't doing that. But they can tell you what you should be doing.
And we have many people like that. Many people like that. And so, sisters, I have taken up 28 minutes. Now it's in your hands.
Hello? Oh, I ain't know I was going to be put on the spot like that.
Well, I went second last time.
Oh, I didn't know we had places, but okay. Let me keep in mind. Never had places. Excuse me, people. I didn't know it's not new.
I the baby.
We got places. Okay, I am somebody.
All right.
God's child.
All right.
Black
power.
Well. Okay, mine is saying goodbye to someone. How to say goodbye to someone you love. And my part of it is, and get some yonder. Because you do not have to go back. Once you say goodbye, you do not have to go back. Not all relationships are meant to stay in your life. Sometimes hitting the block button, no matter how petty it may seem, might actually be the best thing for you. Saying goodbye to someone you love can be soul crushing. Yes, it can. But if you have taken that decision for the better, we are proud of you for doing the right thing for yourself. And this comes from bonology. Bonology. I don't know. I hope I'm saying it right, but that's where it comes from.
Okay.
And it says, forget everything that everyone at every movie on Romedy. What's Romedy? Comedy and romance? Forget everything. I guess so. Now tells you about never letting go of the one you love, no matter how challenging. Maybe it's Romedy is a Romedy now. I don't know what that is. I'm old. I don't know what that is. No matter how challenging, it takes maturity to walk away from things that does not sustain you anymore. And working toward the better sometimes means that you have Oh, shoot. Something to make. I'm sorry. Forgetting everything you have there on Robin now tells you about never letting go to the one you love, no matter how challenging. It takes maturity to walk away from things that do not sustain you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And working towards a better you sometimes means that you have to say goodbye to those or who are not worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
Number one sign is someone is being unfaithful and you should get away.
Mm-hmm.
Think about someone you love. When Naomi finally realized that her high school romance with Trey was only turning into a toxic relationship in college, she knew it was time to call it quits. Having
Mm-hmm.
dated all the 4 years of high school, she felt it
Mm-hmm.
was impossible to break up with him until one day she had had enough and went over to Trey's dorm to break up with him. Being in the same college, it wasn't easy for her to keep her distance from herself from him. Seeing him in the hallway or at football games, all the
Mm-hmm.
memories would come rushing back to her each time. But she was not going to let her sad goodbye ruin the rest of her college days. So, like Naomi, it's time to muster some strength and learn how to move on. Saying goodbye to someone you love might seem like the hardest thing right now, but we promise you that with time it gets better. Yes, that man said, well, the man said, I would never get he was in love with his friend's girl, his friend's wife. So he was in love, so he thought he was going to just take himself on out the picture. He's going to kill himself. And he messed around and shot himself in the leg. Go kill himself. He shot himself in the leg. But he said he got the girl, feeling for the girls went away, and the shot stayed for 2 weeks. So in other words, he got over it. The shot in the leg stayed longer than the girl. So he got over it. Yes. Don't be evasive. I think the worst thing that people do when saying goodbye to a lover is to leave them hanging or buzzing with questions. You're only going to tell them something that you will momentarily change their life and everyday existence. The least you can do is be upfront and honest. Even if you feel like honesty might hurt them, your last conversation with them cannot be a bed of lies. Respect is the most important thing, even when you're breaking things off with them. So consider this the right way to be respect a woman or a man that you might want to dump. Try to be as composed and straightforward as you can. Two is to tell them that you have no hard feelings. Saying goodbye, love, do not translate that I never want to see your face again. While the whole concept of saying goodbye to someone is your love might seem harsh, it does not necessarily come with the harsh feelings. You know what? Now, you know what? I've done it a million times. Well, not a million times. I ain't gonna tell that lie. I've done it a million times. But you know what? You can do so much better than what we going on here. What's going on here? Get somebody that loves you for what you. I'm not saying I don't love you. I'm just saying somebody that loves you for you. I'm not saying I don't love you for you. Well, never mind. Y'all better figure it out yourself. But I ain't done it the right way yet, evidently. But let me say before it comes to mind full but negative notions, make sure you tell them to mean no harm to them. Just because you believe that some distance will do the both of you good does not mean that disregard everything that you have done or they have done for you. They will be upset with you, but try to tell them that you are not upset with them. Put away the social media reminders. Even though you've said your sad goodbye to them, Instagram probably does not know yet and still show them on the top of the list of all your ways if you check your stories. These blaring reminders of them being around you and in your space can potentially weaken you. Saying goodbye to the love is hard enough as it is, but then seeing their names or photos pop up all over your social media is going to make things work. Block your ex, unfollow or delete your social media accounts altogether. Do whatever you have to do, no matter how hard it feels. Believe me, when you say that, just put it in a better headspace. Four is don't be angry. That's what I did wrong. That's what I did wrong. I was angry every time. And sometimes I was hungry and angry. So it did not turn out right. Huh?
I wasn't angry.
I'm not
I
talking
actually
about
told,
you. I
hey,
said me.
this
I
ain't
was
working
angry.
out.
I was angry. I was
Let's
angry.
just, you're not giving me what I need. Not that you couldn't, you wouldn't. So let's just.
But no, that's you. That's you. I was angry.
Michelle said, did y'all hear Michelle?
Uh-uh.
What'd you say, Michelle?
I was so year of my life I could never get back.
And he lucky he got a good buy instead of a good bullet. So he I'm just telling you, I was angry. I was angry. Don't get angry at them. So, okay, that's where I messed up at. Truthfully speaking, the art of ending relationship well simply does not exist. Sadly, every relationship that you end leaves a lot of doubt and hurt in both people involved. What you can do is work on softening the blow. So when you are angry at things you're saying, don't trudge down the regressive path yourself. How to say goodbye to someone you love. Do it as kindly and calmly as you can.
See?
Try and
See?
See what?
See? Just do it calmly.
I tried that. I was not calm. I told you he got a good buy instead of a good bullet.
Now don't get me wrong. I have tried to push.
Okay.
I did try to push one of them out the car while we was riding down the
Okay, but then how
highway.
you gonna tell me? How you gonna tell
But
me?
that was when I was young.
Don't
I was young too.
confess.
It was last year. I was young too. It was last year.
Okay.
I'm just kidding on that part. Okay. Try and do a comfortable setting so that if they do lose their cool, they can express themselves freely. And remember to hold yourself together throughout at the time, because if you don't, you will definitely leave things in a bad note. 5, embrace the reality of it. When you're saying goodbye to someone you love, the words are rolling off your tongue at that moment. You might feel somewhat okay. But the moment you get it home, oh, Jesus, the moment you get home, but the moment you get home and making that coffee to pick up the phone and say zero text from them, that's when reality goes into hit, and it will hit hard. Sometimes how to say goodbye to someone you love in a relationship is about continuing to make that coffee, putting your phone away and writing down your thoughts and feelings. Do anything you can to convince yourself that you are now better off without them. It will sting, but it won't sting forever. Say goodbye to someone you love. It's about indulging in self-care along with practicing distance. 6 is be as firm as you can. Breaking someone else's heart might be the only thing harder than getting your own heart broken. So when the
Said right.
Okay, so when the storm has settled, you might start crying or asking you for a second chance. They might start crying, asking you for a second chance. That is indeed when the real test begins, and how to say goodbye to someone you love in a relationship. They might say romantic things, bring up old memories, or do anything to shake you up and remind you of how good you are and how good they are for you. But you thought this strong through a million times already. Do not give them a chance to second guess you. Say your piece, step away, and heal from this. That's the right way of saying goodbye to a lover you know you don't want no more. 7, don't make any promises. Don't make empty promises. When they're breaking down in front of you, do not try to think the deep things to say to keep them from anything from they might give them a ray of hope. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'll always love you, or I'll never stop thinking about you. Perhaps one day in the future, all of these wrong words you have to say. Don't say that. Making empty promises, hoping that they'll forget about it and move on is just the right way to do things. For all you know, they might just end up waiting for you to come around. Keep it clean, keep it direct, and try not to lose your balance. And there's some more, y'all, but
go ahead.
my heart got broken already. My heart broke thinking about this stuff, and I still got that bullet in that gun that didn't go nowhere. Okay,
Keep one bullet in your pocket.
Yeah, girl, I still got it. I
All
still
right,
got
Barney.
that bullet. I still got the bullet.
Got
Okay.
one bullet for your gun. You keep it in your pocket.
I wasn't gonna shoot him in the head. Now I gonna hit him in the foot. What the man say, Shirley? Hit him on foot, knock you in the head, he be dead.
Knock you in the head, he be dead.
Forgive them wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps one of the most difficult ways to say goodbye to someone who might have hurt you is also probably the most essential, nevertheless. To really free your mind of all the negative energy and give yourself a chance to evolve, you must be able to make peace with whatever wrongdoings that have taken place in the past. That's another way I messed up. That's why I couldn't tell y'all how to do it. We all talk about the importance of forgiveness in relationships to be happy, but we often conveniently leave the part where you must learn to forgive someone even when the relationship is over. The only way to find solace is to unburden yourself of things you don't want to recall. Excuse me. Stop being hard on yourself.
I'm sorry, my child keeps getting up, jumping up in my lap.
I'm sorry?
I said she keeps jumping up in my lap.
Oh, if from time to time you find yourself thinking about them or reminiscing about the old days, don't punish yourself for the same. Saying goodbye to someone you love but can't do anything about might make you try to think of ways to make it work again. You don't want to do that. But
nope.
You know there's no other way out than by following the no contact rule in this situation. Remind yourself of that on the bad days. Mope a little, buy some Ben and Jerry's tub, like you like, and zone out for the rest of the day. The world, zone out for the rest of the world. Remember that you'll always have your own back. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
A recent breakup or heartbreak can leave you feeling blue for a long time. No matter how mature you've been, the hurt is the same.
That's
All
right.
of these ways to say goodbye, there's one last thing you must tell yourself. Don't enter into a single life with skepticism or frustration. One bad apple doesn't mean that the whole basket of fruit will be disappointing. Keep your head held high. Have faith in yourself. And once you know that you're the only person you really need is yourself, you will not feel compelled to look back. There will be depressed episodes. There will be tears and a lot of guilt on top it off. But as long as you're intuitively remind yourself, continue into again. You know what I'm trying to say. I said it right the first time, but I can't say it right. I'm tongue tied. Okay, that you did the right thing. Yourself will continue to stay steady and take you out of troubled waters. But saying goodbye to someone you love in the correct way takes a lot of courage that most people don't have. So give yourself a little pat on the back, smile that it's over, and look forward to all that is yet to come. I ain't no need patting myself on the back. I still got that bullet. I was trying to give it out. I was trying to give it out. They was welcome to it.
Keep your bullet.
Huh?
Keep your bullet. Keep your bullet. It ain't worth it.
I kept it. I kept the bullet. I kept it because I heard my daddy say. My daddy said that's what my daddy said. I heard my dad say, he ain't worth it. Put that bullet back in your pocket and put my gun up. Y'all know I'm just kidding about that now.
We know.
But that's mine for today. But there was a little light humor in it also. But that is not how I felt. You have to forgive. You have to forgive and forget. I try to forgive and forget because I don't want to hold on to all that stuff. You can't fly with a whole lot of stuff hanging on to you. So there's my thing. Up to you, Theta. There we go.
All right. Mine is the 6 science-backed ways being kind is good for your health. I don't know if it's Miley Proctor, but it's spelled Male Proctor. And this comes from thequietrev.com. Okay? Excuse me. We all know the golden rule from an early age. There are a number of real life benefits associated with the way we treat others. Science shows that children were biologically
I ain't
wired
thought it
to
was
be
tongue
kind.
tied. There
Huh?
we
What'd you
go.
say, Claude?
I ain't thought it was tongue tied. There we
No,
go.
you're not. Be kind, and we can further develop this trait with practice and repetition. Sometimes, however, due to outside influences and the stress of our day to day life, we can lose this inherent ability. Kindness and empathy help us relate to other people and have more positive relationships with friends, family, and even perfect strangers we encounter in our daily lives. Besides, just improving personal relationships, however, kindness can actually make you healthy. Here are 6 science-based fact ways to improve your health through kindness. Kindness releases feel-good hormones. Have you ever noticed that when you do something nice for someone else, it makes you feel better too? This isn't just something that happens randomly. It has to do with pleasure centers in your brain. Doing nice things for others boosts your serotonin, the neurotransmitters responsible for feeling of satisfaction and well-being. Like exercise, altruism also releases endorphins, a phenomenon known as a helper's high. Okay? So go ahead and volunteer to help someone in need. Buy someone a cup of coffee or lunch, or try one of these ideas. It may help you pick me up you need. Kindness eases anxiety. Anxiety, whether it's a mild nervousness or a severe panic, is an extremely common in human experience. While there are several ways to reduce anxiety, such as meditation, exercise, prescription medications, and natural remedies, it turns out that being nicer to others can be one of the easiest, most inexpensive ways to keep anxiety at bay. As pointed out in the study of happiness from the University of British Columbia, social anxiety is associated with low positive affect, a factor that can be significantly affect psychological well-being and adaptive functioning. Positive affect refers to an individual's experience of positive moods such as joy, interest, and alertness. UBC researchers found that participants who engage in kind acts of display significant uh, acts display significant increase in PA, and that were sustained over 4 weeks of study. So the next time you're feeling a little anxious, look for opportunities to help others. This could range from smiling at someone, or calling a friend to or calling a friend to volunteering, or lending your time to an organization. Even a small gesture can make a big difference. Kindness is good for your heart. Making others feel good can warm your heart. Sure, but being nice to others can also affect the actual chemical balance in your heart. Kindness releases a hormone called oxytocin. According to Dr. David Hamilton, oxytocin causes the release of a chemical called nitric oxide in the blood vessel, which dilates, expands the blood vessel. This reduces blood pressure, and therefore oxytocin is known as a cardioprotective hormone because it protects the heart by lowering the blood pressure. I guess that's why my blood pressure is going down. Sorry. Kindness strengthens your heart physically and emotionally. Maybe that's why they say nice, caring people have really big hearts. It can help you live longer. You may be shaking your head at this one, but we're not just saying this. There's a science to back it up. According to health.com, you're at greater risk of a heart disease if you don't have a strong network of people, a network of family and friends. When you're kind to others, you develop strong, meaningful relationships and friendships. So go ahead and make some new friends or expand your kindness and compassion to ones you already have. It reduces stress. In our busy, always on the go lives, we're constantly looking for ways to reduce stress. it may be easier than we think. Helping others lets you go outside of yourself and take a break from the stresses in your own life. This behavior can also make you better equipped to handle stressful situations. Aff- Uh, affiliative behavior is a behavior that builds your relationships with others. According to the study on the effects of pro-social behavior on stress, affiliative behavior may, may be an important component for coping with stress and indicate with an engaging or pro-social behavior. Action intended to help others might be an effective strategy for reducing the impact of stress on an emotional function. Kindness prevents illness. Inflammation in the body is associated with all sorts of health problems, such as diabetes, cancer, chronic pain, obesity, migraines. According to the study of adults aged 57 to 85, volunteering manifested as strongest associating with lower levels of inflammation. Oxytocin also reduces inflammation, and even little acts of kindness can trigger oxytocin's release. Kindness may be a secret sauce to a healthy life, but don't just take my word for it. Share a smile, make a donation, or volunteer to help others. That's it. It was short and sweet. I can't hear you.
I had my mic off. You said
Oh,
share what and
share a
volunteer.
smile. You know, just take
Yes.
share a smile,
Share a
make a
smile.
donation, or
Yeah.
volunteer to help others.
Yes.
Right. And those three are very important too.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't have to say a word. I think I said that on Sunday. Just smile.
Just
Just
smile.
smile. That's it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that'll
I'm
go
sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
You
No.
know, remember I told you you see some people, and some people look so lost, and you smile at them, and it just changes their whole. It's like I'm not alone. You
Uh-huh.
don't know what's going through that person's mind at the time, and a smile changes a lot of
Hmm.
people.
Yes.
You don't know if that person has anyone, and just because you acknowledge them, and just
Makes
acknowledge
their
another
day go
human
better. It
being.
makes their day go better. Yeah.
It surely does.
Yes,
Yes.
Just
that
that.
little old man you just smiled at, he could be going home to just his empty home. Everybody could be gone from his life, and they stand out there, and you just smile at him and say, "Hey, sir, how you doing? You know, I'm fine." And then that makes his whole day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You
Let me.
know.
I might be. I don't know whether I've ever said this before on here, but there's a story that I read. It's been some years ago about this little boy. He was going home from school, and so he had all his books. He had a load, and he had lots of stuff. And so these little boys came along and asked him, you want us to help you? Let us help you. And so he let them help. And so they talked with him, on the way home and everything, made conversation. And so I think the little boy, I'm not sure, but I think he had written a letter. And so the reason he had all of his books was because he was having a hard time in school, no friends. You know how people are, that
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
people
Yes.
ignore people. And he was going home. The reason he took all of his stuff because he didn't want his parents to have to go back to the school and get them
Uh-huh.
after he committed suicide.
Suicide. Right. Yeah.
And
You did tell me.
because that little boy or those little boys were so nice to him that particular day, he changed his mind.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
People just don't understand what
Yes.
just being nice to
Yep.
people will do. Just nodding
And
at
it
them,
doesn't cost
Yep.
a thing.
not a
Doesn't cost a
thing.
thing.
Let me tell y'all what happened to me when
Okay.
I was in junior high school. There was this little redhead girl. I remember her now, but back then I did. Y'all know how I am. I talk to everybody. And I was at my friend Debbie's house. Y'all know Debbie.
Try to shut
And
you
this
up.
girl was sitting in there, and she just kept looking at me. And she said, "Merethah, you don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "Uh-uh." And she started crying. I thought, "Oh Lord, what did I do?"
What did you do?
Do you remember little redhead girl? The little redhead girl. She said, you haven't changed a bit. I said, well, what did I do? She said, you were kind to me. And you haven't changed a bit. She said, everybody used to pick on me, but you didn't. You stood up for me. And you haven't changed a bit. And she just cried. I said, Lord, thank you. I was nice to her, because you don't know
Well,
how
that's
you touch
what happened to me.
people. And we were in junior high school. Here I am in my late 40s. And this girl remembered me and said, I haven't changed a bit.
I remember too, but it wasn't for that.
Shut up.
Okay.
No, I wasn't. I remember too, but it wasn't for that.
Oh,
but I
okay.
mean, you don't know, and here I am. I didn't even, this child is sitting across in front of me. What if I had treated her bad?
Right.
She could have done anything to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't ever let
And
nobody
I never
know
would have
where you are
known.
when you get older, because you can't. You don't let nobody know where you are when you get older.
Kindness.
No, I'm not.
Said you haven't changed.
Well, ladies, we have what? We got
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes, yes. We have Elder Rowland, we have Patsy Reed, we have Jennifer, we have Christopher Taylor.
Hi.
Elder Chris, hey.
He said this has been wonderful. Elder Rowland said hot lead has made some people straighten up.
I saw that. I saw that. You know what?
My phone is turned up.
It'll change a person's mind.
It'll change their mind. Yeah, sometimes.
And their body too. Shoot. See, people don't get it. They just don't understand. They always think that they have the upper hand.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, there are so many people who have thought that they had the upper hand, that they were the big bad person, and they were the baddest thing on the block, and they are either maimed or in their graves or in their urns today.
That's it.
Because they took somebody for granted.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Oh, this has been wonderful.
Bridie was on here.
For weakness.
Hi, Bridie.
The Lord is keeping me off of you. I'm telling you. Shirley, we have already talked about it. He will physically put someone in your path to hold you back, because he knows what you can do. And he knows what
I know. I know.
Look, I had to put my head down on that one. Yeah.
Yes, and
that said she remembered a girl from school. Well, somebody, I ain't calling no names, but I thought I was nice to everybody in school too. But somebody said somebody came to their house just last year and say, walked in their door and said, "Do you remember me?" And she said, "No, I don't." She said, "Well, I'm so and so and so and so." And she said, "Do you know where Cleester is?" What? She said, Cleester is out of state. She ain't different no more. Well, she used to bully me. No, the hell I did not. I didn't. No, I didn't. I ain't never been no bully. And she go to this person's house, and suppose that person told her where I was.
Is that the same one?
I was in school. I wasn't no bully. I ain't never bullied nobody. I made fun of people because I like to laugh, but I ain't never bullied nobody. I think she got me mixed up with somebody else named so with a CL.
Probably so. Probably so. If that's not the same lady that was on my page asking about you, is it? Those are different people, right?
I don't know, because I don't even know who the other one is.
Okay. But I tell you,
her daughter said she know. No, she said no. Cleester ain't even around here no more. But she used to pick at me and make me cry. No, the hell I did not.
See, people think that. Can I just tell you one more thing?
Because it was me, Cleester, and then there was another CL sound like Cleester, but it wasn't.
I remember Cleester.
Yeah.
Shirley, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
they're no longer with us now.
I think I saw Barbara's name on here. Auntie Barbara Bogan. I thought I saw her.
Yeah.
And I saw Glenda and everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. But people we have to be careful. We have to be kind. What was yours, Clee? How to say goodbye to someone you love? And mine was about being passive. passive. Just because you appear to be passive or you are passive, people should not take you for granted.
Nope.
And people should be kind. A
They better
smile.
be thankful that some people do appear passive.
Right. And like that said, be kind. And then Clee said, if you have to, if it's necessary, you say goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
And get some yonder.
I love you all. It's 2:00.
Love y'all.
I love you, sisters. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We love you. God willing, we'll see you Thursday. And Eula's still at the school with the children.
And all right. She will be back. She will be
in
back.
June. In June. Love you.